For more now on the ongoing Ebola epidemic in West Africa, we are joined via Skype by Jane Orient, and she is a doctor and the executive director of the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for covering this issue.
Authorities in Sierra Leone say another doctor there, as we just mentioned, Dr. Godfrey George, has tested positive for Ebola. Assuming that all the 5 doctors who have contracted Ebola are following the guidelines, how did this happen?
Well, you have to look at the possibilities. Either their protective gear does not keep out the Ebola, the disinfectants don't work, or they're getting it through the air, or they're coming in contact with an asymptomatic person and getting it from that person. That's not supposed to be possible.
You mentioned getting in the air, getting it through the air. Can you explain what you mean by that? Because up to this point, we've been told it's not airborne.
There's plenty of scientific evidence that it has been transmitted between animals by aerosol, and there are experiments that show that if you have Ebola in an aerosol, at least 1% of it will still be viable after 90 minutes. So that's why Ebola is a BSL-4 organism. In a true BSL-4 facility, the workers have self-contained breathing apparatus. They don't breathe air from the outside. The air from the unit does not go into the ventilation system for any place else. It's a negative pressure facility. These people are having to work in non-BSL-4 facilities just by necessity.
Are the doctors treated any differently than the average patients from what you know?
I don't know. I expect they probably are, but I really don't have the information to answer that.
What would you attribute to WHO reports that the number of new cases is actually leveling off? We were getting anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 cases a week, now more like 1,000.
I think there's some controversy about whether those statistics are reliable. Are patients just avoiding the treatment centers because they think they just go there to die and they don't want to be cremated? Or is the number really going down? I mean, WHO has been criticized for its long delay in recognizing the seriousness of the epidemic. And reliable statistics are very hard to come by in Africa.
Dr. Orient, do you believe the quarantines are necessary, as in the case of the nurse who just violated her quarantine in New Jersey? Because Doctors Without Borders and the New England Journal of Medicine have both come out against the quarantine of asymptomatic people.
I think that it is risky. Perhaps some people would say it's reckless for people who have been exposed to Ebola to be in situations where they could expose others. We don't really know the history of the virus shedding. We're assuming that they can't transmit it when they're asymptomatic, but symptoms can begin very suddenly, and about 15% of the people don't have fever initially.
Dr. Jane Orient, the Executive Director of the American Physicians and Surgeons, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.